Hey folks, I am starting a new little series on the show. As much as I love reviewing horror movies and TV shows and stuff, I love watching them, I love reviewing them. Um, at the root of me, I just love all things creepy and macabre. I have decided to start a little offshoot show, as it were, called Dolly's Creepypasta Sauce. On Dolly's Creepypasta Sauce, I'm going to be talking about everything from creepypastas to urban legends to real life horror stories, all kinds of stuff. I'll be surfing Snopes to see what kinds of things I can lie about. I don't know. What kinds of things everybody else is lying about. I don't know. So I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying what I've done so far and you're looking forward to my new little venture with this, as well as continuing to do the movie reviews, film reviews, and soon Twitch game reviews and highlights, because I've got all kinds of stuff I want to talk about on this show. So just be ready for much, much more. Alright, so on this, my first episode of Dolly's Creepypasta Sauce, I am going to be talking about an urban legend that my 8-year-old daughter actually introduced me to. I know I'm such a great mom, I let my kid watch YouTube, unabashedly watching YouTube, and falling into all these creepy YouTube holes. She's told me about more creepypasta people to watch. She's kind of an invaluable asset, I'm not gonna lie. So, she's my Halloween baby. I had this child, I thought she was gonna be a Halloween baby. I had her 3.5 hours before October 31st, so she was just born to be creepy. The game she told me about, or the urban legend she told me about, is based on a game called the Elevator Game. This is something she told me back a while ago about, before I started doing the show. And I decided that this was the first one I wanted to speak on, especially because I just got finished watching American Horror Story Hotel, and there are certain themes of it that kind of feed into certain cases and whatnot that I will speak on later in the episode. But at the root of the Elevator Game, it is actually a game that originated in Korea back a few years ago. Originally, it was posted on a popular Korean website that features a popular comic book strip, from what I gather. I don't read, speak, or understand Korean, so I can't speak on that, but I can say that from everything I've read, it came from a website that features that comic book, or that comic series, rather. It ended up making its way to the US through Reddit, and from there it just kind of caught fire. Everybody on YouTube, everybody, on Boy Scout, trips where they were staying at the Ramada and they had enough floors or whatever, everybody was playing this game. I have not. I don't really feel like I have any intentions to. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, probably nothing's gonna happen, but at the same time, I have really, really weird beginner's luck. It made its way to all the social network platforms, and there for a while it was just all over the place. I know it's not as on fire as it was, but it's still, people are still giving this game a little try. So, what is the Elevator Game? Well, it is a game that it enables you to travel to an alternate universe by going to certain floors of a building in a certain sequence. Now, the building must be at least 10 floors, because it requires 10 floors for you to be able to do this ritual, as it were. If it's done correctly, you are delivered to an alternate realm. If it's done incorrectly, you get off the elevator and you say, hey, wow, that was really dumb, I'm not going to do that again. Or you go and try it again. I don't know, whatever. I'm not your mom. The first rule of the game is that you must be alone in the elevator car when you're doing it. So, you got to go in there all by yourself, and they also suggest that it's usually better to try it at night because, usually these buildings are not as active at night, and so there's a better chance you'll be able to travel up and down the elevator all by your lonesome. So before I get into the steps of the actual ritual of getting to the alternate universe, or not getting to the alternate universe, how I would prefer it, I want to give a shout out to the guys at the Ghost in the Machine website. That's actually where I found all the literature on the actual step-by-steps to do the ritual. So I wanted to give a shout out to those guys. I'm going to have a link to their Patreon at the end of the video, as well as a link to their website here in my little description portion below. Go check those guys out. They've got a lot of really cool stuff on their WordPress website. Again, that's the Ghost in the Machine. So thank you guys for posting this interestingness about the elevator game, because it enabled me to be able to get my facts straight. So I like that. I like that a lot. And now, without further ado, the steps to the ritual. Disclaimer, do not try this at home unless you want to. I don't care. I'm not your mom. Okay, so to begin, I've got my notes here. So if I'm looking down, it's because I had to make sure I had notes for this, because it's pretty involved. It's involved, but it's not. It's not as involved at the beginning, but then once the creepy stuff's supposed to start happening, then it gets a bit more wordy there, and there's a lot more for my old brain to remember. So, all right, let's see. Okay, so to begin with, you'll need to be in a building that's at least 10 floors, and you'll need a functioning elevator. So you don't want any of those. Yeah, you want the ones with the buttons. You want to make this as easy for yourself as possible. Traveling to alternate realms should not be that complicated. Or so I'm led to believe by television. It should be noted that I watched a lot of sci-fi as a kid. Again, trying it at night's probably the best bet, just in terms of the logic of, making sure there's not people coming in and out of the elevator. And again, you have to be by yourself, so that should make it nice and extra creepy. Alright, so venturing out into the unknown. First step, you're going to get in the elevator, and you're going to make sure you're alone, and once you know you're alone, you are going to press the button for the 4th floor. Once you ascend to the 4th floor, wait for the doors to open, nobody comes in, nobody gets out, let the doors close. Then you're going to go to the 2nd floor. All right, doors open, close, okay, nobody's there, blah, 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 whatever. Turning my notebook, my very fancy technology. It's easier to read than my cell phone, so. Anyways, plus I don't get the crazy Mr. Burns glow. So, all right, once you've got to the 2nd floor, doors open, doors closed, great. All right, then you're going to push the button to go to the 6th floor. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Going to go to the 6th floor. Again, repeat the steps. Let the doors open. Nobody comes in. Nobody gets out. Doors close. You're going to go back to the 2nd floor. All right, back down to the 2nd floor. Doors open. Doors close. Then you're going to go to the, let me double check, make sure I'm getting it right. Yes, the 10th floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To the 10th floor, and then once you get to the 10th floor, repeat the process. Doors open, doors close. Then you're going to go press the button for the 5th floor. This is where crap is supposed to get weird and crazy. So once you've reached the 5th floor, it is said that a young girl or a woman, different stories kind of tell slightly different versions, or it could be somebody that looks like somebody you know. It's because it's not human. See, that's the thing. And so whatever this female entity is, it's going to get on the elevator. Don't look at her. Don't talk to her. Don't acknowledge her. Basically treat her like my high school crush treated me the entire 4 years of high school. It's lost. I got cute. So this woman, she's not what she seems. In some versions, she's a demon. In some versions, she's a ghost. Doesn't really matter. You just don't talk to her, because, she can look like your grandma. It's like, of course, it's like, okay, you're in a building, some random building somewhere, and your grandma decides to, get on the elevator with you. That would be my first indication that it's like, oh, you're not my grandma. Sorry, stupid password. You're totally not my grandma. Unless it's your grandma's building. I mean, then I guess it would get kind of confusing. So you probably just want to pick a building where you don't know anybody. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really intend to play this game. You guys are going to do all that crazy nonsense. I'm too old for that crap. Unless the alternate universe has, like, folded laundry already. The house is clean. Kitchen's clean. I don't have to do any chores. The coffee doesn't taste like gruel. But I digress. So, okay. You've reached the 5th floor. Strange creepy lady who might or might not look like your grandma has gone onto the elevator. Next, you're going to press the button for the 1st floor. Alright, so now you've pushed the button for the 1st floor. If the elevator car begins ascending to the 10th floor, then the ritual has apparently worked, and you can continue with said ritual. If, however, it does descend to the 1st floor, once it reaches the 1st floor, get out of that son of a bitch. Don't look back. Don't say a word. Just go. Like, the universe just gave you a pass and was like, hey, guess what? You don't want to go to an alternate universe. You want to go home. Go home. Go watch some Netflix. Go order a pizza. Stop being weird. Just take it as a gift and run. However, if you do reach the 10th floor, you can either choose to exit the elevator car or be like, okay, awesome, so it worked, I guess, probably, but I'm not really interested in continuing with it because I didn't actually think it was going to work in the first place. Like I said, beginner's luck. If you decide that, hey, that was a fun trip, but I'm really not interested in continuing this fun trip any further, push the 1st floor button and continue to push the 1st floor button until it takes you to the 1st floor, because apparently it'll try to keep you from leaving this amazing realm, as it were, where you're the only person. So it's like, how amazing could that possibly be? So, like, me, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good company, but I have a feeling I would probably get irritated with myself after a while. Just saying. You hit that 1st floor button, and you eventually get back to the 1st floor. You get out of the elevator car. You run. You don't look back. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200. You just go home to your dog. I mean, who's going to feed your dog if you go to an alternate universe anyways? Oh yeah, and if the lady is still in the elevator, because chances are she will be, if she got into the 5th and she didn't go anywhere, she's going to be like, hey, where you going? Stay here. If you decide to get off the elevator, don't acknowledge her, don't talk to her, don't, just, yeah. Basically, you're the Justin Timberlake to her Britney Spears. Just leave that bitch in the past and just go. Just go. If, however, you do decide that you are going to stay, you're going to explore, then there are a few key ways you will know that you have reached the other side of whatever it is, as it were. First thing is obviously, the obvious thing is that you are the only inhabitant of this entire realm, this entire universe. It's just you. You, yourself, and you. So if you don't think you're good company now, you probably just shouldn't play the elevator game, ever. However, if you're cool with you, then proceed. You're going to notice subtle differences. Maybe the doorknobs are on the other side of the door, numbers are backwards. I don't know. I've never been there, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, things are going to be a little different, subtly different. If you do stay to explore, you're also going to need to remember a few key things. One of those key things being that most people have reported that electronics do not work in this realm. So no Instagramming selfies from like, hey, look, I'm in an alternate realm, cheese. If you take the picture, if it works, you're going to have to wait until you're back on normal side, whatever that is, to post it. So it's like, why even bother? So yeah, Instagram's not going to work. You can't tweet from the other side. No Twitter. Not my rules. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. I'm just reporting on this stuff for you. Other weird and unsettling things from the Upside Down. If there are windows, and you look out those windows, everything on the inside is going to seem pretty much the same, other than, like I said, subtle differences. However, if you look out the window, from what I've read, you will see mostly darkness, but a glowing red cross in the far distance. See, for me, that would be like, okay, I'm out, skis. I'm done. You guys, Eye of Sauron bullshit can just keep itself right where itself's at. I'm gonna go home. Some have reported being disoriented, being a bit dizzy, being kind of off-footed a bit in this realm. Some have even said that they've passed out. So that's, I mean, that's not good because you're expected also, another rule here, to travel back in the same elevator car that you got there in. So if there's like, a bay of 6 and you can't remember and you pass out, it's like, crap. I don't remember which uni you guys that I came up here in, and you can't just try the ritual in all of them. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not how this works. So, I don't know, you might want to bring a ball of yarn. I mean, tie it to the elevator door, tie it to your waist. Hope that there aren't any shiesty ghosts who are like, I'm gonna untie it and tie it to this one. I mean, I guess you take some major risks when you decide to take an elevator to an alternate realm. If you do pass out, some say that people have passed out and then woken up back at home. Only thing is, that's not your home. Silent Hill much? Okay, so we've had our fun, we've explored the alternate realm, we've discovered that there's no Wi-Fi, and the tacos suck. So, it's time to go home. Here's how you return home from your adventures into the Upside Down. As I said before, you must go back in the elevator that you arrived in. So it'd probably be best if you used a building where there's only like one elevator at either end of the hall. It makes things a scotch easier, especially if you don't have any yarn or crackers or whatever. So you will repeat the ritual as you started it from the beginning. It's going to be basically steps 2 through 8. Honestly, steps 2 through 7. If you're going off of the website that I used, steps 2 through 7. So you're going to go to the 4th floor, the 2nd floor, the 6th floor, the 2nd floor again, the 10th floor, and the 5th floor. Once you arrive on the 5th floor, you are going to push the button for the 1st floor. Now, the elevator will try to ascend back to the 10th floor. Hit any button, any button floor on the console to cancel that before it gets to the 10th floor, because it's like, hey, you didn't want to leave this round. Our tacos are great. We know what you're talking about. Come back. We'll get Wi-Fi. But it's a lie. The Wi-Fi is a lie. So push any button on that console to cancel that out. Once you reach the 1st floor, they say it is imperative that before you step 1 foot off that elevator, you check the surroundings and make sure there's nothing off, nothing weird, because there's a chance that the elevator's tricking you. Who'd have thunk it? So, if anything seems off at all, repeat steps 2 through 8 until everything seems right again. So that's the 4th floor, 2nd floor, 6th floor, 2nd floor, 10th floor, 5th floor, 1st floor, until, so it is through 8, yeah, math. Anyways, until everything looks correct around you. Once everything looks correct around you, you get off that elevator and you run, and you never do that again because you almost gave me a heart attack. What's wrong with you? Oh, sorry. Mom voice. It happens. All right, so you may say, oh, that's silly. There's nobody who's gonna be dumb enough to play that game. And if there is, which there are, there's tons of them on YouTube. Why do you think I'm doing this? Anyhow, whether or not it truly works, there are people who do try this. Now, it may be silly, people create different kinds of games every day, and now with us having the World Wide Web, it's easier to get those games and different rituals and whatnot that we created one night with our friends because we were bored out to the world. So yes, a lot of people just do this game to have fun. But then there are curious cases like that of Canadian college student ELISA LAM, whose story will actually be featured on the worldwide premiere of the Investigation and Discovery TV show Horror at the Cecil Hotel. In February of 2013, the body of ELISA LAM was found floating in one of the water tanks on top of the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, California. She disappeared the first week of February. Her parents contacted the Los Angeles Police Department because their daughter had not returned home from her visit to California. And she was supposed to have returned home the first few days of February of 2013. And when they didn't hear from her, they contacted LAPD and reached out to them. An extensive search was conducted of the hotel. They searched high and low. Nobody would have thought to look for her in the water tanks. Reason being, I'm 5'1". I'm a very slight woman. She was about my size. I can guarantee you, having seen those things in real life, there's absolutely no way I am going to be able to lift that lid and get myself into one of those tanks without the help of a significantly stronger individual. So there's a lot of speculation as to how she managed to get herself in there in the first place. Anyway, about 2.5 weeks after her parents contacted the Los Angeles Police Department, guests in the hotel started reporting poor water pressure, and their water was very discolored. Well, that prompted a maintenance worker to go up and check the tanks. Lo and behold, the body of Miss Lam was found in one of the tanks, and they never found any signs of trauma, no sexual assault, no signs of suicide. There was nothing in her system that would indicate she was drugged. Nothing. So to this day, they really don't know what happened. Additionally, there were no suspects that were ever, there was nobody that could have even been suspected. They have nothing. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. It's a very, very sad mystery, but it is a mystery nonetheless. The Cecil Hotel, which opened, I believe, in 1924 in Los Angeles, is now called the Stay on Main. Can change the name, but the history of this place, you can change it to La La Land's Happyville, tra-la-la, amusement happy place, and that's not going to matter because the history of this place pretty much speaks for itself. Not only did the Black Dahlia stay there at a certain point, but the notorious Night Stalker Richard Ramirez actually lived at the hotel for a while, and it's reported that he actually murdered some of his victims at the Cecil. The Cecil Hotel even inspired the 5th season of American Horror Story Hotel, the Hotel Cortez. Anybody remember that? That was an amazing season. Well, the Cecil Hotel actually inspired aspects of that hotel, which was based in Los Angeles. And there's actually a blip in the one of the episodes where someone says that a girl got onto an elevator in that hotel and no one ever saw her again. Or that people get onto the elevator in that hotel and no one ever sees them again. That is definitely a very big shout out to the Cecil, I suppose. Now, while some believe that ELISA LAM was actually off of her medication because she was diagnosed as having bipolar depression. I too have bipolar depression, so I can speak from a place of understanding in terms of kind of how we get when we're off our meds. However, there are varying levels of bipolar depression and bipolar disorder in and of itself. I don't tend to have any psychoses. I don't see things, anything like that. Mine is just, it's bipolar depression. But the bipolar disorder it's quite an umbrella term depending on where you fall within the disorder. And as I don't have ELISA LAM's paperwork in front of me, I don't know where she fell on the, as far as her level of anxiety or her level of delusion, what she experienced with her bipolar disorder. Now, speaking on her mental health issues, shortly after she got to the Cecil and got to her room, she's actually originally staying in a hostel-style room with a few other guests. Well, the guests called the front desk after a day or two and just said that the woman in their room was acting strangely and they didn't feel comfortable with her. So the hotel, the day that she disappeared, the hotel moved her to a room where she could be by herself. This is the same day that many believe Ms. Lam decided to try to play the elevator game. The reason that this is speculated is because shortly after her body was discovered, the surveillance videos from the hotel elevator were checked and were released to the public. And it shows her acting very erratically. She gets on the elevator, as it's showing right here. She gets on the elevator, she pushes multiple buttons. At a certain point, it even shows her seemingly speaking to something in the hallway. No one else can see anything there. If you can kind of look, there's nothing there. She's speaking to something, gets back on the elevator, is behaving very fearfully, and this is the last known sighting of ELISA Lam. It was this hotel's elevator's surveillance video. Because people indicate that they see she's pushing multiple buttons, or because she's going to multiple floors, that may be an indication that she was playing the elevator game. I don't know. And so speaking on the side of, there's the mental health aspect, there's also this elevator game aspect, but there is also a chance that perhaps it was a little bit of both. Perhaps she was having a bit of a break with reality, and she decided to play this game. And somehow she ended up that night on the roof of this hotel, and her body ended up in that water tank. And to this day, nobody knows how any of that happened. Because of the theories that are associated with the video, that's why I feel that Ms. Lam's story is relevant to this elevator game episode. Of course, I would never want to disrespect her or her family. I feel her story is relevant to this episode because there are so many people that speculate that that could possibly have been what may have led to her death. There's absolutely no evidence, probably never will be any evidence to corroborate that or dispute it. Nobody really knows. A 2005 film called Dark Water, starring Jennifer Connelly, actually is very reminiscent of the case of ELISA Lam. It tells the story. It's a very heartbreaking horror film. It's one of my favorites because I feel it's a very well done film. But as a mom, if you've seen it, you'll understand at the end it absolutely breaks my heart to watch it. But it's very well done, and it is very reminiscent of what happened to ELISA Lam. It essentially tells the story of a little girl whose body ended up in the water tank on top of this an apartment building, a very old, rundown apartment building, and her body is then discovered by Jennifer Connelly's character. And so it's a familiar story, but that was in 2005. That was 8 years before Miss Lam's untimely and very tragic death. Sony Films is actually developing a film called The Bringing, which is also supposed to be based on Ms. Lam's case. So that film, I know it's in pre-production right now. I don't believe they started shooting yet, but it will also, I believe it's supposed to, of course it's going to spotlight the paranormal aspect, the elevator game aspect, but it's going to be it's going to touch on a lot from Ms. Lam's case. Because it did intrigue people. It was an intriguing case because of the absolute mystery attached to it. To this day, her death is still ruled an accident. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, please hit that like button down there, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and please tell your friends about how much you love me and how great my show is, and even if you don't think it is, lie to them. It's okay. Friends forgive you for lying to them as long as it's not about something serious like food. Until next time, stay weird.